So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview, broadcast recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new media and baseball capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Have you heard that if you can tear the label off your beer in one piece, it means you're not a virgin? Willie the mailman was talking about it.
I hadn't heard that.
Yes, it's true. What? I've had sex, you stupid beer.
Dr. Brown! Holy God!
My younger brother, Ira, is a great kid. He's not always the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he's the kindest, gentlest, most supportive brother in the world. Okay, maybe second. Randy, you know, Earl's younger brother on My Name is Earl. He would qualify as the most blindly supportive brother on earth. Ethan Suplee plays Randy to Jason Lee's Earl and has for several seasons now. Randy is the kind of brother some might see as a burden, but Earl can't seem to think of anyone he'd rather pass the time with. And for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to try it myself. Ethan, welcome to Mr. Media.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We're having a beautiful day out here. It's finally starting to feel like fall. It's 70 degrees, and you know, it's been excruciatingly hot, but you know, starting to get cool. I prefer the cooler weather, which I know out in St. Pete you guys don't get too much of,
no.
Even in the winter.
No, we don't. Well, now tell everybody, are you on set today?
I'm not on set right now. I will have to go to set this afternoon to do a table reading for next week's script, but I basically have the day off.
How far ahead are you guys in terms of taping right now? The script that you're working on, when will we actually see that?
It's weird because we shot the first. Well, not the first. They're all airing out of sequence this year. I don't know why exactly, but we shot 4 episodes. The writers' strike earlier in the year screwed up the schedule, and so we finished off season 3 and then immediately shot 4 episodes of season 4, and then took a 6-week break, and then started back into season 4 again. So the episodes are all airing strangely. Like the 4 episodes that we shot first, I don't believe all 4 of those have even aired yet, but we've aired some of the episodes. It's all confusing. To be honest with you, I don't know how far ahead we are. We're about to start shooting our 13th episode, and I do not know exactly how many have aired because there have been a couple of double Earl nights where they showed 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. But we are a bit ahead for sure.
Ethan, I want to take you back to when the show was cast. Were you at all insulted when you got a shot at playing Randy? And I hope you're not insulted by the question, but
no, I'm not insulted by the question, and I wasn't insulted at all. I read the script and I was laughing out loud really hard, and I could just hear Randy's voice, in my head, and I was excited to play that, because sometimes you read something and for me, I'll read a script or something, and if it's a part that I'm interested in or my agents are interested in me doing or going after, you don't always immediately know what the character sounds like. And for me, that's the most important thing is that character's voice and his ideas and what he's thinking. And just reading the script initially, I immediately knew who Randy was, or I knew my take of who he was,
Mm-hmm. Now,
so it was really exciting.
Well, as you know, television, more so than movies or theater, it tends to really stick to an actor. So, I mean, were you concerned once you got into it that Randy might follow you a little beyond, the 20-inch, 30-inch, 46-inch, 60-inch TV screen? And has he?
60-inch. Yeah, a little bit. He's followed me. I've gotten definitely some offers on some things that are virtually identical to the character of Randy, and I'm not really interested in doing that outside of playing Randy, because I think, obviously I enjoy playing Randy, but I think other than on My Name is Earl, I don't want to play Randy. I want to do other stuff, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's definitely following me a little bit, but that's to be expected. I take it as a compliment. It just means that people think that what I'm doing on the show, I'm doing well, I guess,
Mm-hmm. My wife remembers that you and Earl's Jason Lee were in Kevin Smith's Mallrats together, and she wondered if landing the role on Earl had anything to do with you already knowing Jason, or if that was just coincidental.
It really didn't, and strangely enough, I actually knew Jason very well before Mallrats. It was kind of a bizarre, wonderful thing that the first movie either of us did, we did together. It was like going off to your first day at school in a brand new school with your best friend or something like that. You know what I mean? Where,
right?
Or going off to the army and somehow your buddy is in the same platoon as you or something. I guess obviously that's a little extreme of an analogy, but when I was 15, Jason was dating my good friend's sister, and he was a little bit older than me and my friend, and so he was someone we really looked up to, and we would go and hang out and he'd drive us around, and then we just became very good friends, and then I started working as an actor doing this television show, Boy Meets World, and he was very interested in acting, and it was like, oh my God, we're going to audition for the same movie. It was this bizarre, fun, exciting thing, just that we were both going to audition for this movie, and then that we both got it was even more crazy, Well,
tell me what kind of things you were doing before Earl. You were doing movies, I think, and I know you had done Boy Meets World. What other kind of things were going on in your life when this came up?
When this came up, my wife I have two stepkids who are now 12 and 11, but I've been with them since they were like 3 and 4, and my wife was pregnant with my first, biological daughter. But yeah, really, I was doing movies, and I was going out of the country for long stretches of time every year. 1 year, I think it was 2002. I was in Canada for a good portion of time, and then in Romania for a good portion of time, and Romania for a very long time, actually. And I got, because I had a family, in my deal, I always have to work in extra living accommodations and plane tickets so that everybody can come. And my wife came out to Romania, and she spent like one night there, and she was like, I'm leaving, and I'll never bring the kids here. You have to come back. So I wound up doing like 8 trips back to Los Angeles. I think at one point I got off the plane in LAX, and I had a voicemail message saying, don't leave the airport, because I had to go immediately back to Romania. And then, there was a year I spent a long time in New Zealand and a year in Montreal, and just doing these movies that were so far away was a little bit burdensome. So I would tell my agents, like, look, let's find something I can do in Los Angeles because I have kids and I want to have more kids, and it's not conducive to their lives to just drag them. You know, they came to New Zealand and spent some time there, but I had to take them out of school, and it's just not good, you know, to have children living out of suitcases, I don't think. You know, I think a big part of raising kids for me is making sure that they have some kind of a routine and stability and structure to their lives. I think that's very important, and so that's what I was doing. I was doing movies and traveling a lot.
It must be interesting to see, as these kids have grown these 8 years or so, their perception of you when they see you in something from, you know, maybe when they were 5 or 6 to now when they're 10, 11, their perception of you must be changing. It must be interesting to see that.
Yeah, well, you know, the craziest thing is when we first started doing Earl, 4 years ago, so my 11-year-old was like 7, and I would base a lot of Randy's. I would think about how this 7-year-old girl would react or act in certain situations, and then that's just what Randy would do, you know, because I always just imagined him as a big kid. And now that she's 11, I can't really do that because it's a little bit different. You know, an 11-year-old girl is starting to think about, you know, she has a cell phone now and she texts her friends, and it's like just not, she's no longer as much of Randy as she was at 7.
I suspect she's a lot smarter than Randy.
Yeah, she's a very smart kid. Very smart kid. You know, I think Randy's smart too, but not in that way. Certainly not in arithmetic and, you know, creative writing. Although maybe creative writing he would be pretty good.
Well, I've got Let me play another moment of Randy. This is Ethan Suplee as Randy in My Name is Earl.
I gotta find Sweet Johnny. You wanna come? No, you go ahead. Drop me off at the Crab Shack. I'm gonna get another beer and prove to it I'm not a virgin. By doing the label thing, not putting my wiener in it. Just want to be clear.
I mean, who wouldn't love to have Randy as his or her brother? I don't know. I think
Randy's a great guy. He's a really good brother, I think.
I gotta ask you about Randy and Catalina. Now, in the episode that I'm playing these clips from, this is about Sweet. You're trying to get the label off the beer bottle, or I'm sorry, Randy is, and Randy mentions sex with illegal immigrants, and I don't know if maybe I missed an episode, but have Randy and Catalina ever actually, you know, gotten to it?
Oh yeah, he had a grand slam with her, buddy.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, I don't know. That was in season 2, I think. What happened was he was pining after her and in love with her, and in order to get her status as to become a citizen or whatever, citizen, she needed to marry somebody. So she married.
Ethan, are you still there? Ethan? All right. Well, hang with us a second. I think we lost Ethan. I think he must be on his cell, and hopefully he will call back in a minute. I have another. Yep. We'll wait and see if he'll call back. Meanwhile, I have another moment of this is from the same episode. This is Ethan as Randy in My Name is Earl, which of course airs Thursdays, 8:00.
Oh my God! I did it! The bottle says I'm not a virgin. I knew it.
Look, Randy, they're gonna die.
Hey, Ethan, you're back with us now. That's okay.
So he marries her, and then, he finally tells her he's actually in love with her, and it's not just a marriage of convenience for him, and she decides to sleep with Randy, but she's going to make it disgusting as possible so that he is turned off from her and doesn't love her anymore, and it works. But in that episode, you wouldn't have thought it, but Randy's such a stud in bed, she winds up in love with him for a couple episodes.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I just couldn't remember it. So when I heard that line fly by about I've had sex with illegal immigrants, I thought, So as you look back now on the seasons that have gone by, do you have a favorite where Randy has really gotten to be Randy, so to speak?
A favorite episode?
Yeah, where you've gotten featured time
to be Randy, right? I really loved, this was way back in the first season, and it was one of the very first episodes we shot was Randy's touchdown. I loved that, and then I think it was in that episode that Randy said, he in order to play football and score his touchdown, he had to go back to school, and he said something like, in science class, they said before we were people, we were monkeys, and Earl says, oh yeah, what were we before we were monkeys? And Randy says, I don't know, I can't even remember being a monkey. And it was just, that was a direct quote taken from Greg Garcia's son. Greg Garcia's, I think, six-year-old son literally said that, and I just thought it was hysterical, and so that was a really good one. And then, I loved in this season we shot an episode where they made a movie, and it turns out Randy's such a good actor because he has the ability to really make believe that he's this other person. So that was a lot of fun. That episode was with Seth Green.
So, sometimes I think you get moments in there where maybe you're not, maybe it's not an episode where you're particularly featured, but pretty much any time that there's interaction between you and Jamie Presley as Joy, it's always funny. I mean, it's mean, right. It's mean-spirited, but it's always funny.
Yeah, she's a blast, and I agree that stuff is hilarious. She's like a really, really nasty older sibling.
Yeah.
She's the sister you do not want.
Now, you've got a couple of beautiful women on the show. You've got Jamie, you've got Nadine, you've got Jason, who you're obviously go back a long way with. You've got Eddie Steeples, who plays Darnell. I think most of us watching the show would imagine, rightly or wrongly, that it would be a fun place to work. Is that the case?
Oh, man, it is a real blast. It's by far the most just straight up fun job I've ever had. It's just, it really is a very fun place to work. There's very rarely is there ever anything heavy. The subject matter is so kind of light that we just get to joke around and have fun. I couldn't imagine being on one of these shows where you're dealing with death or courtroom scenes where it's all very serious, because you want to stay in the emotional moment and you wouldn't be able to joke around, and then just being serious for 14 hours a day would be a nightmare. But yeah, our set is a total blast, and it's a lot of just joking with each other and a lot of cracking up. They could probably string together a solid hour or two of just, footage of us messing up our lines and laughing hysterically,
Has this, has this show made you independent? I mean, can you, if the show ends at the end of this season or next, are you a pretty comfortable guy at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't retire,
Well, probably wouldn't want to either.
No, definitely independent. You know, we're not doing Friends or Seinfeld, so none of us are becoming like ridiculously wealthy. But we do definitely make a good living. You know, I'm sure we're in some. I'm sure I'm in the highest tax bracket there is. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, it's not like billions of dollars or anything like that, or hundreds of millions.
Is there any more weight on you guys anchoring that 8 o'clock on Thursday slot than there's been in the past?
You know, I hate that we're on at 8 because I think we're not an 8 o'clock show.
Yeah.
And also, being on at 8 means that we're on at 7 in some parts of the country, Central or Mountain or whichever it is. You know, and some people haven't even gotten home from work, and that's like, I guess, time that kids are watching TV, and I do not think we're an appropriate show for kids, really. You know, I let my 11 and 12-year-old daughters watch the show, but I think I'm going to stop. You know, there's definitely subject matter on there that is totally inappropriate for people their age, and you know, I don't know. I pressure. I don't know if there's pressure, but you know, it's definitely a tough time slot to be in for sure.
I agree with what you're saying about that, and I'm not a big prude of any kind, but I mean, I didn't think.
No, neither am I.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that Friends was an 8 o'clock show, and yet there it was. And my daughter, I've got a 12-year-old daughter myself, and she was too young when Friends was on to have any interest in it. But you know, she would put on Earl now, and I'd have to sit there and go, I don't know. You know, I mean, I love the show, but
it's appropriate for 12-year-old girls. I really don't.
That's a tough call.
Although, yeah, it is. It's a tough call. That's right, man.
But I guess if you watch it with your kid, at least you can be there. And I'm impressed that you acknowledge that even in your own house, you're not sure if it's appropriate. I think that probably makes it easier for other parents to, you know, make that call.
Well, definitely. I mean, shoot, man, I don't want to dissuade people from watching it, but it's not a show for kids. You know, for young kids, it's a show for teenagers, I would say. But for young kids, it's not a show for them.
Ethan, do you have a couple
I don't think it ever was. It was never a show for young kids, you know.
No, I would agree. Now, do you have a couple more minutes? I've just got a couple more questions I'd like to toss by you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. I saw in the last 2 or 3 months, and I wish I could have found this before we get on the phone, so I hope I don't embarrass myself that I got this wrong, but I read the Playboy 20 Questions interview with Kevin Connolly a few months ago, and from that learned, I think, that you were part of this acting fraternity with Connolly, and who, for people who don't know, he plays E on HBO's Entourage, and Leo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire. Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, those are some of my closest friends.
How did you guys connect? Where does that go back to?
There was we all just kind of knew each other, and there was just a group of guys there. A friend of ours had this condo in the valley, and it was called The Office, you know, and that's where we all hung out. And it was The Office because this guy's mother was a manager of actors, and she was based in Philly, and if she had clients that would, come out for pilot season or something, and kind of her LA office was run out of this condo that our buddy lived in, and for a short period of time, Kevin Connolly lived there, and, you know, I spent a couple months living there, and so that's, you know, we were all just kind of, that was our home away from home, or our home for some time periods. And then, you know, a little bit down the line, there was a nasty lawsuit with this guy, and I don't really want to get into that, but so we don't really see him much anymore, but we all are still as close as can be, you know.
Wow.
All the people you mentioned are still very, very tight.
Well, that's good, because I wanted to make sure my memory wasn't failing me.
Yeah, no, but we just, you know, we kind of, the formative years of our lives we spent together, you know, from the time I was 17, I guess, until now. Those have been just some of my closest friends.
Oh.
And that's basically how we know each other, you know.
Have you guys ever worked together as a group, or, you know, 2 or 3 of you at a time?
Not really. No. There was a movie. No. Kevin and I have worked together a number of times, but that came after we knew each other. You know, after we were friends, we wound up doing some things together. But and then there was this one thing we did, but we were friends before that. We shot a short film that. Then there was a lawsuit over the short film because the people wanted to make it into a feature film, and it got real nasty. But so that was kind of working together, but not really, because that was like, it wasn't like we all went off and did a movie. We spent 2 days in a diner doing an improvised film, and then it was, you know, they tried to make a whole bunch of money with it. And turn it into a feature.
It'd be interesting to see you guys, you know, pop up as yourselves on Entourage some week.
I've been myself on Entourage.
You have?
Yeah. This was a very small thing. I was the second lead in Queens Boulevard, the big movie that Vince shoots at the end of season 1 or the beginning of season 2 or something.
Right.
If you remember when they went to Sundance,
yeah.
Whenever you see the poster for Queens Boulevard, it says Vincent Chase, Ethan Suplee in Queens Boulevard. It's pretty funny.
Oh, for heaven's sakes! I'll have to go back and look at that again now. That's great.
Yeah, and
man.
then in all the scenes that they've ever shown from Queens Boulevard, I'm in them.
So I have to ask you this: all you guys hanging out, young age, who's wingman in that group?
Who's wingman?
Yeah, who was who's wingman in that group of actors?
Who's wingman? I don't know. We were all kind of just, you know, it was whoever was available to go out.
Got it.
You know what I mean? It was like, you know, if somebody wasn't working or didn't have to get up early the next day, you know, we went out. We had a good time as kids, for sure.
Oh, I bet. Well, you've got a new TV movie coming out soon, The Year Without Santa Claus, right? Co-stars John Goodman and Chris Kattan. Do you want to tell folks a little bit about that?
Are they going to replay that?
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Tell me, am I wrong?
Yeah, we shot that. That was that's years ago. But they could, you know, they could be playing it again for this season, this Christmas.
Well, then I apologize, but in fairness to me, I have to say that your bio on the NBC site says that's coming up.
Wow.
So I guess that hasn't been updated in a while.
Unbelievable. Shows what these guys know. And that was an NBC movie, too.
Yeah, it's here. It's right in front of me. It's on your bio page on the My Name is Earl page.
You know what? I bet they're gonna air it again this Christmas. I bet that's what that is. But that was a few years ago that we shot that.
That's funny. Well, so let me ask you this. Now, the way you filmed this year, because of the actors' strike, I'm kind of guessing you did not get an extended period of time off to do something new, or did you?
No, I didn't, but I did I managed to squeeze in a movie during the writer's strike, which probably is will make a few writers mad at me, but I love you writers, and I support you. And I was out on the picket lines at CBS Radford, but I did go away to New Mexico and shoot a movie, actually, strangely enough, with Tobey Maguire. Yeah, and that is entirely how I got that movie. I saw this fun, very, very small part, and I told Toby that I'd like to do it, and he told Jim Sheridan that I'd like to do it, and Jim Sheridan said, great, let's have him do it. And so that movie's called Brothers. That'll be out next year. But I did manage to do that. So I do have a movie coming out, I guess.
Yeah. Now, you've done a bunch of Kevin Smith's movies. I mentioned Mallrats. You were in, you had roles in Dogma, I think, and Chasing Amy. Am I missing one?
Dogma, Chasing Amy, and Mallrats. No, that's it.
It would have been very easy to see you. I saw Zach and Miri make a porno Friday night, and it would have been very easy to see you in that. Frankly, I could have seen you in Seth Rogen's role. Is Kevin not calling anymore, or are you too busy?
Well, it's tough when you're doing a TV show to do movies like that. Unless you're super, super, super famous, they're not going to hold off production on a movie to accommodate your schedule, you know what I mean? And there's a 7-month block of the year that I just can't do anything but what I'm doing, which is Earl,
Mm-hmm.
So I see Kevin now and again, but I just don't think there's any way I could have done that. I'm sure if I'd called him up and said, hey, let me be in your movie, I have this time off while you're shooting, I'm sure he would have found a part for me, but I didn't do that, and I was working, I'm sure, while he was shooting that.
Would it be tough? I mean, we talked about your kids before and Earl. Would it be tough to be in a movie like that now with kids, especially at the age that you have your kids?
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do that movie.
Yeah.
With I have 4 daughters, and I feel like I've already, most of the movies I've done, they can't watch. That was really what we were just talking about, The Year Without a Santa Claus. That was what that was about. It was something fun that I could do that my kids could watch and be a part of, you know what I mean? And that I would show them happily, because it's a fun Christmas movie. All the movies I've been in, for the most part, are really not appropriate for kids. So, yeah, I'd try to stay away from. I mean, not that I necessarily am only looking to do things that my kids can be a part of, but I don't know. I don't really like porn, and I do have 4 daughters, and I feel that porn really is pretty degrading to women. So I don't know if I wanted to be in that movie anyway.
Sure.
So Kevin. There you know.
Well, I honestly, I appreciate your attitude, and and hearing that you've got 4 daughters, I appreciate that you give thought to that. I know I give a lot of thought now to what I write, for example, as opposed to 10 years ago when you didn't really think about the impact of that. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, if I write something and my daughter discovers it, that makes me out to be kind of a creep. So I got to be careful about that.
And nowadays with the internet, this stuff it'll be around forever. With a movie, it's not like I do it and then it comes out, and because they're young, I can control that they'll never see it. One day,
right.
One day they'll be on their own, and they could watch it, and then I just wouldn't feel good about that. And then the movies I've done, for the most part, one day it will be okay with me if they see them. Blow and American History X and Remember the Titans. Actually, Remember the Titans, they could probably watch now, the older ones, and enjoy it. But I don't know if I want to do anything that's really about pornography. I really don't like pornography.
Mm. Well, folks, check out Ethan Suplee, co-star of the always funny NBC sitcom My Name is Earl, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. on NBC, and you can catch up on any episodes you've missed this season for free at NBC.com.
That's right. We'll never let you down. Always funny.
There you go. And Ethan, Earl may spend his time trying to balance out his karma, but in the 30 or so minutes we've been talking, I have a sense that yours is in perfect balance. And
I don't know about that. I have some stuff I can make up for, but I'm trying to do that. You know, I think about living your life good now from here on out. Hey, St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
I have a place over in Clearwater. My wife was raised there for a while. I heard you guys have a pretty decent film festival nowadays. Is that true?
Yeah, the Sun. Oh my goodness, you caught me here. I actually know one of the women who runs the festival. It's in St. Pete. It's the Sun, not Suntan. Oh my God.
The Suntan Film Festival.
It is. It's compact. It's in St. Petersburg. But like this past year, they dragged John Travolta out for it to bring it out, and they got a lot more attention than they had in years past. Oh, this woman's going to kill me if I can't think of it. But yeah, it's I think it's like in April or May. It's a very good festival.
Right. Yeah, that's what I heard.
We should get you down here for that.
Yeah, should. Maybe Brothers will play there or something.
That would be great. Well, keep it in mind. I'm sure they'd love to have you here.
Cool.
Well,
cool.
Ethan, it was delightful to talk to you. You're very gracious with your time, and I keep up the good work. I hope things continue to go well for you. And thank you very much for your time today.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed doing this. It was very nice talking to you.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, and talk to you soon, I hope.
All right, man. You too. See ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, for dozens more celebrity and media newsmaker interviews, you can surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. That's where you can listen to my earlier conversations with Billy Bob Thornton, Cheryl Hines, Jeff Garlin, Robert Schimmel, Bruce Davison, Kirk Douglas, and many, many others. Please think about writing an online review of Mr. Media, casting a vote for Mr. Media, or marking Mr. Media as one of your favorites. Whether you listen to us on Blog Talk Radio, digitaljournal.com, Podcast Pickle, Vox, Folio, Mediafly, Podfeed.net, Blueberry, Zencast, Odeo, the Kindle Reader, or iTunes, available in all those places. And if you've got an idea for a guest, email me directly at bob@andelman, ANDELMAN.com. Thanks so much for joining us today, everybody. I always appreciate when you share a piece of your day with Mr. Media. That would be me. Come back and see us again real soon.